Welcome to another episode of the Protein Bros podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wasserman. It was with me, as always, my co-host,
Kyle Combs. What's going on, guys?
We are extremely excited to have you guys back listening to us today because we have some very special guests. And those special guests are Matt and Alexis Karsetter. And apologize to anybody who knows them well. Gus and Moo, their beautiful dogs, are not here and not on the podcast. But maybe we'll make some clips to put them in the YouTube video. Luke, can you do that? Got it. Okay. So if you have not listened to the Protein Bros podcast, what we would love for you to know about us. One, we are local to Kansas City. We support local fitness. We try to bring on the absolute best people we know who have been able to make a career out of fitness, which is extremely difficult to do. And we talk to these people and we get to know what they had to go through to get to this point and what their future plans are moving on. So if you haven't heard, please share this podcast. It's the only thing we ask is if you are taking the time to listen, you give us a tag, maybe share it to your Instagram, maybe tell a friend. All of these things are helpful. Any other ideas, Kyle?
Nope.
I think that pretty much solves it. So let's get into the business. First and foremost, Matt and Alexis, say hi.
Hello.
What's up?
Thank you for having us.
Matt, I need you eating that mic up in the get in there.
Get up in it, babe.
Get up in there. I mean closer. I need another hi. Say hello again.
Hello again.
Test.
Boom.
Perfect. There it is.
You have a voice for podcasting. You got to really, get
You have a
into it.
gift, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, there it is. Wow.
I was worried.
Wow. Are you impersonating like a? Like, wow.
good.
Is this a hotline? Okay. So now that we're all
Those don't
in,
exist anymore, do they?
They have to. They have
They
to.
That's
have
like
to.
a high school thing.
Yeah. See that makes a lot of noise when you do that. Yeah.
My bad. I learned my lesson.
It's all good. All right. So what we have going on today, guys, is we got a long story between these two because they've gone through some shit. Let's just say it like that.
True that.
So first and foremost, how long ago did you guys meet?
I mean, we've been married, 4.5 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
This is putting Matt on the spot.
This
Better
is.
4
know
years.
it.
So we met 4.5 and like a day ago.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we met about 5 years ago. We've been married a little over 4, not quite 4.5
Yeah.
years.
We don't have a super typical story as far as the beginning and everything just happened really fast.
You
so
jumped into it in Mexico, if I remember correctly, something like that.
we
did.
got eloped
Yeah,
after 4 days of being engaged. So.
It looked like the most fun ever.
we had a great time.
What part of Mexico?
Cabo.
Never been.
Me
You bet.
neither.
You're missing
I've only
out.
been on the other side of Mexico. Everyone said, but Cabo looks prettier than on the.
Is that
Gulf
like the
side.
other side of is the other side like the Cancun side?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the Gulf side.
You guys want to know how uncultured I am?
Wow.
Never been to Mexico.
Wow, dude.
I even
What?
won a free trip for 7 days for free. Haven't gone. I won that in 2014.
Cabo's nice.
I travel a ton.
It's basically California.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Americanized version of Mexico.
So it's really just cheaper than
No,
California?
it's definitely not. Oh, I don't know. I've never spent much time in California.
I don't
but
blame
it's-
you.
I don't think it's a cheaper part of Mexico. If anything, it might be a little more.
I was about to
higher
say, I'm pretty sure Cabo is more expensive. It's a little bit higher class than the Cancun side.
Ah,
end. Right.
that's where they vacation all the night, like all the Instagrammy people. I feel like go to Tulum. And
Sure.
is that the same as like Cabo?
Ooh, I don't know if Tulum's on that side.
It's not.
I'm not that
It's by
cultured.
Cancun.
Yeah.
So, but isn't Tulum like very trendy right now? Isn't it up there with like Mykonos and
Yep.
all the other
Oh,
Instagrammy
for sure.
places?
Especially like the outside gyms that they have there.
Oh yeah, have you
Yes.
seen those?
Yep.
The Jungle Gym.
Yep.
Well, now
You
I
know.
feel bad. We're going to Tulum on the 24th, so
Oh, no kidding.
we're going
Well,
back.
you're
That's
going to go to one of those shithole places in Cancun. You got to go to
Dude,
go to
Cancun
Tulum.
sucks.
Is it really?
I don't like it, but
I feel like
there-
every
if you go to
18-year-old in the
party-
world loved it
yeah,
there. You know,
I went there when I was 18. It was fun. But
horny
it's not,
toads and stuff.
Yeah. There was a few nightclubs there. The City, Coco Bongas. I don't remember
That
much,
sounds
but
like one of the clubs that was in the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Oh, it does.
it probably was.
That's the one thing I know. I've never been to Cancun.
But
I know movies.
One of our gym members, Dylan Admire, moved down there, and he opened a gym like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I saw that.
Iron Republic, Cancun. So we're gonna go check that out.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, show him a little love.
What's-
How awesome!
Then
Good
we'll
for
go-
him.
Then we'll go to Tulum, but.
He seems. I saw that. Didn't he start some kind of trucking company and kind of parlayed that into a gym?
He's in logistics,
Logistics.
so he
Logistics,
went out
yeah.
on his own like a year or two ago, and he's hit home runs.
If there was ever like
That's
a
awesome.
career that you were like, oh, I don't know what that does, but okay. Like I know what logistics are because of UPS commercials.
Sure. Yeah, he basically manages it, brokers it. He's never touching cargo or in the truck.
So the move, it sounds like a great spot to be.
Yeah, he's doing well.
So for everybody that's listening that doesn't know, Matt and Alexis own the Foundation. So the Foundation is one of the coolest gyms in Kansas City, and I believe it started in Manhattan. Correct?
That's right.
So when you opened Foundation, were you guys married? The original one?
No, we weren't together at that time. So I opened that one about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd had it for a couple year and a half, 2 years.
And this is a good story too for everybody listening because Matt has a history in bodybuilding, and has been a very successful bodybuilder. And the thing I would say here is that many people who want to make fitness a career start off in their love for fitness, right? Whether it be they had a big transformation or they got into powerlifting or bodybuilding, etc. And you're no different in the sense of you weren't in business for yourself to start off with. Is that correct? You were doing fitness as a hobby, and then you were like, you know what, I'd love to just try to find a way to turn this into a career somehow.
So my first contest was when I was a senior in college. So I was working construction, and then after I graduated, I went out on my own and started my own construction company. But yeah, I mean, I started out bodybuilding. My first contest, like I said, was in 2007. You said I've been very successful. I think that's debatable.
I remember one time you looked like you were gonna absolutely just crush that show, and was it the thing that like you got DQ'd right off the bat somehow?
Yeah, that was when I was prepping. I was getting ready to go to nationals.
I was about to say it was a warm-up show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but I was already qualified.
I remember the first time I saw you compete, I was like, well, that guy's from Kansas City? I was like, what in the world? How about, because I go, obviously, working for Supplement Superstores for such a long time, I was going to all the shows all the time. And I think the first time I saw you compete, maybe it was like 2014 or 15, Muscle Mayhem in Kansas City.
That was a good year for me.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, whoa, where did that guy, I was like.
You won the overall in that show,
That
right?
guy's an IFBB
So I
pro.
won the heavies, and then I went into the overall against Sarad.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
He's a good dude.
Yeah, he is a good dude.
I like him well. And they ended up doing a tiebreaker, which was a double calf raise.
What?
I'm like, what the hell? And he beat me.
Legendary double calf raise.
yeah,
Everybody knows
yeah.
that one.
Hate it when that
So
happens.
yeah, and then I went to juniors 2 weeks later, and I got second at juniors, and I dropped down to the light heavies for that. But yeah, I mean, I've competed 12 times, and that's kind of how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alexis obviously has an illustrious career as well.
Alexis was the best.
How many times you competed nationals, Alexis?
Only 2 or 3.
Only. Like it's nothing.
She was best bikini competitor in St. Louis for a long time.
I had so much fun.
Yeah,
It was good.
But the what I was going to say is because you have such a different background when it comes to fitness. It's like I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that was in construction and then got into fitness or had a career that was so different than the gym business. Can you think of a more different business than construction and the gym business? Really?
I mean, I know a lot of guys that work construction do like to train.
Yeah.
The blue collar.
No doubt.
For sure.
For me, construction, I've done well some years and I've done terrible other years. And it's like you get 2 or 3 big paychecks a year. And so I'll feel rich one day and just absolutely broke the next. And so I was like, I love bodybuilding. I love the gym. These gyms aren't really up to par. I felt like I was at a disadvantage. So I was like, I'm going to open a gym, and it'd be nice to have some steady income rather than just surges of income.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So that was a big part of it. But the funny thing about that was when I built the gym in Manhattan, we bought like 3.5 acres in town, and we built that ourselves. I GC'd it, built it myself of course I subbed out a lot.
These are subcontractors that helped you build it. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of it myself, but we got to hire out electricians, plumbers, and everything like that.
Sure.
But initially, I was going to just run my construction company, Alliance Developments, out of that building and lease the majority of the space to a CrossFit tenant, and wasn't going to do the gym for a couple of years if I was going to do it. But by the time we got done building, I was like 70, 80,000 over budget, and which in commercials not that high, but for a guy that didn't have any money, that's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and I went back, I already wrote the lease to my tenant. I could have probably gone back on him and said, hey, things have changed, but I wanted to honor my word. So I kept the rent where it was. And I said, guess what? I guess I'm starting a gym 2 years early because I had to find a way to make money. You know what I mean? And construction, like I said, the paydays were so spread out because I was doing a lot of spec homes at that time.
I was wondering if you were doing like commercial or residential with when it came to like construction.
I started out, so when I started in construction, I was building fences on the back of houses in college. And then I got hired on to do framing with those guys. And, shout out to Steve Springer in Manhattan, Kansas. He got me on with his son, and I framed with him. I was really their grunt. They literally call me their little bitch. You know what?
You gotta start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere.
Dude, my buddy owns a concrete company, and when we were kids, we would go basically haul concrete bags for these guys. For all these guys that couldn't speak English, I'm sure they were cussing me for going slow. They're like, "Come on, man, bring me those bags."
For sure.
But yeah, it's dude. Honestly, when growing up like that and having that kind of work background, it's got to have some transition over into bodybuilding. It makes you appreciate hard work and
Not afraid to grind.
Not afraid to
Sure.
get your hands dirty.
I think a lot of bodybuilders are disciplined and not in just that area of their life. If you can be disciplined in the gym, you can be disciplined other places. And that's why I'm not surprised when I see successful guys that are pretty well built.
Yeah.
But yeah, construction did serve me well. It's not I do love parts of it, but it's so stressful that it was supposed to be a means to an end for me. Because when I graduated college, or before I graduated, I was...
And where'd you go to school, Matt?
K-State, Kansas State University. Before I graduated, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. And so I thought, open a gym. I love training, But I looked into a Gold's franchise, and I think it said something like $400,000 in liquidity, which...
Oh, you just had to have that handy?
I might have had $400 in liquidity. You know what I mean? So I was like, well... So I got to find a way to make some money, and that's really how I was able to build the gym. I still didn't have a lot of money when I built that. Well, when I started construction, but I was able to build it myself and add value through sweat equity, right? So I could build it for about 40% less than the average person could build it themselves or hire it out. And luckily, I was with a young bank that was really eager to grow, so they counted my equity down as my down money, so I didn't have to come out of pocket.
Nice.
And it made that's really how I got my start. I had a good year the year before in construction. So I was able to focus on building the gym and not as much on projects.
So here's my question. So let's say, for our listeners, you got a guy who had some kind of equity to help you as far as getting started with the gym. But I was going to say your construction business, you were saying that the building of the facility was 70, 80K over budget, which again, not a huge deal in commercial. But you also wanted to start a gym after the fact once you found out that the budget was over. So where do you come up with equipment? Because equipment's the biggest investment for a gym. Is that correct?
Well, I guess for a lot of gym owners, if they're not going to own the property. So yeah, for sure. But with all of our gyms, we own the property. That's kind of our model right now.
Your real estate business.
Yeah. I mean, I love real estate. So we own we're trying to build a real estate portfolio. But it's nice to also have the gym business. I love the gym, so does Alexis, but it also gives us control. We know if our tenant's not gonna make rent because we are a tenant, owner operators. Right. It just lets us forecast a little better, gives us a little more control.
What made you steer down that route? Because there's very few gym owners that actually own the property that they're in. Most of them are going to rent and be tenants. What made you guys decide that we want to buy this property?
Real estate's always been my major focus. It's always what I've been really into. And I built the first one because there wasn't anything that we could access in Manhattan for me that was, had decent hours. I remember taking pre-workout, getting there after work, shaking the door and just feeling like a squirrel for 2 hours and not being able to do anything, So
hitting push-ups in the parking lot.
Right. Yeah. So to be honest, I'm not sure how we pulled it off. I didn't make money for a long time with the gym. I had a good year the year prior, so I was able to float it. Other than that, in God's grace, there's I don't look back. I do look back and I wonder how it worked out because
Dude, we feel the same way.
Yeah.
For real.
There's a lot of things in life where you're like, man, I can't really explain how that ended up working, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would look at just like, probably how you guys were living back then, especially when you were first getting started, and it's just like what I used to be okay with as far as like my living conditions. Like, I mean, I lived in an office 10 months ago, so,
Right.
but like, yeah, I mean, it's just wild to think about, just like, man, I really can't believe I used to like be totally cool with that, that was my breakfast, or that was where I slept, or, and it's just whatever you got to do. You know what I mean?
You do what you need to do. I mean, and that's why it worked. Because if I wasn't willing to do that, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
I mean, everything I got is a monopoly piece when it comes to cars. Basically, that's about it, I guess. And gym equipment, stuff like that. Like, that's how we got through COVID. I sold a bunch of gym equipment that we had stocked up for the next one.
Right.
You just got to be resourceful. The resources are all around you. You just got to look for them and be willing to do it, and not really care if it makes you look like.
Dude, that's something I've always respected about you, Matt, is that every time I've ever talked to you, because we've grown closer over the last couple of years, but I just knew of you, for years prior, and you always are like looking into stuff heavier than other people just like to talk about it. Like some people are like, yeah, man, I wanted to get into real estate, or, I'd like to, look into, start my own this or that. And it's like, no, you're like in China, actually, like at a manufacturing facility, checking on something there. I'm like, you went to China? You're like, yeah, dude, I just went and checked it out. Just wanted to make sure everything was going smooth with this or that. Was this the CBD company, or was this,
That was for call sign Strength. So we manufacture over in China and in the States. I try and go twice a year. However,
not recently.
Nah, man.
Something happened last year,
no
huh?
more.
Yeah. And so we're, trying to do more stuff stateside. But when it comes down to it, I mean, I'll get it done one way or another. And if you really want to do it, you'll figure it out.
Dude, absolutely, man. I'm just saying, like, you put in more action than other people. I mean, like, so many people, especially in the fitness industry, like to talk, and you don't like to talk. Instead, you like to do, and it's just very noticeable, and I commend you for it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Even with everything with the gym in Liberty, like you went directly to the source, and you went directly to like Seattle to be able to make all of that happen.
Oh man, that's a whole nother story.
But that's the thing. Like,
we got to talk about that. So Alexis brings up an amazing point.
Yeah.
So recently, they just opened up a very dope gym in Liberty, Missouri. It's phenomenal. If you haven't been to the Foundation in Liberty, absolutely go. What's the first visit there? Is there like a day pass fee, or is it a free visit for the first time?
Yeah, you can have a free day pass.
If you mention the Protein Bros podcast, you get a free day pass.
That's
think
the
so.
only way.
only possible way.
Membership for life.
Exactly.
Okay,
You mentioned that you get a free first visit.
She's
but
like, nah.
when you check it out, you'll notice they just have an ungodly amount of equipment. And some of that equipment, probably about half of it or so, was stuck in a shipping container in Seattle. Is that right?
Yeah.
And tell us how you went and got that, and how you somehow got it in time back.
At the beginning of the problems with supply chain, correct?
Sure. Well, that building down there, COVID, I'm of the opinion there's always an upside to a downside, right? That was a big box building that nobody wanted to touch because COVID, everybody's freaking out. And my bank didn't want me to touch it either. I negotiated on that over 7 months. I walked away from it twice, finally got it the price to where I needed it or wanted it to be.
What was it before, like a carpet company or something like that?
Yeah, it was a Johnson's floor covering. And I think originally it was a clothing store. That's what it was built for. But so I saw opportunity in it. I went to my bank and I presented to this new committee. I'd been with them for 8 years, and they sold to a group in Kansas City. And so it was a new group of people who didn't know me. So I had to go tell them, hey, I want to buy this big box during COVID. And nobody was super excited about it, except I kind of won them over with, I told them it's going to work and I'm going to do it. And I said, and I hope it's with you because I already signed the contract. And I mean, thank goodness they did it. And they've really been a big driver of my success. People State Bank, they have a location now in Overland Park too. They're
cool.
Nice.
But yeah, they've been really good to me.
Plug People State Bank.
Yeah, for sure. Mike Simon. He's
Simon.
my dude. I've been with those guys for over 8 years, and they've taken real good care of me. Granted, they've made good money too. But
For sure.
So back to that equipment. I worked with my fabricator, and I put that order in like 8 months prior to actually receiving it. And usually, a couple of years ago, that lead time was like 2 months. And I'm working with a local logistics company. I won't name because I'm not working with them anymore. Mm-hmm. And no need to
Throw
throw him under the bus.
But he just opened a gym in Mexico. I'm just kidding.
But so I had my fabricator put this equipment together. They got it built. Everything was good to go, and they shipped it out. It was a little late, but scratch that. Let me go back. They were supposed to ship it out. So I had space. We were shipping 2 containers, 2 40-footers, and I had space reserved on the vessels. It paid in full, paid up front for them. And due to COVID, these vessels were trying to recoup their money. And so they went and they sold my spots out from under me to higher bidders, which I didn't even know they could do that. But it's kind of the Wild West when it comes to shipping.
Right.
They're not strongly regulated. So I lost that spot, cost us about a month and a half. Then finally, once we did get on a vessel, my shipping agent's like, we can't go through New York. It's too congested. We got to go to Seattle. And yeah, great idea, except everybody had that idea. And so Seattle was just as bad. It took longer than it should to get there. And then they were anchored off the port for a couple weeks. They couldn't get on. And so then they finally did unload, but they were so backed up that they were just taking containers and putting them left and right, no order, nothing really. And so usually the first in is the first out when you offload. Not in this case. If you were first in, you mean you got buried.
Oh, geez.
And so I was getting pretty much nowhere with my shipping agents. They're saying, yeah, we know, we'll check on it. This went on for like weeks. And they said, I finally got an answer. They said it's going to be probably another month and a half to 3 months. And
right.
I said,
and at this point,
when are you supposed to open the gym?
Our
we were
building
ready.
was ready to go. We just didn't have any equipment.
Yeah.
Well, like about half, right? Something like that.
Yeah, we had some
Maybe.
arsenal stuff, some of our stateside stuff, but a large majority of our equipment was in those containers, right? So I said, well, what are we going to do? This isn't going to work. I was like, dude, you guys are going to put me out of business before I go into business, because it's not cheap to own a big building.
No.
You just sit there eating interest.
Yeah.
And they said, well, there's nothing we can do. And I told them, word for word, I said, no, there's something you can do. You're just not willing to do it. And so next day I booked a flight. I flew to Seattle. I found a hotel right near the port. And that night I walked down to the port and I did my recon. I figured out where the gate that I thought they were at, where that was located. I found BNSF. That's the rail yard. So at Seattle, ships come in, they offload. Then they come and take trucks to the rail yard, and then they ship them down the rail to here in Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
So I got down there, and the first day I was down there, I just did recon, and I was just in workout clothes. And then the next day,
Do they all can
you
you just
imagine?
freely walk through there?
No.
Or you had to talk to some people? Did you have to throw some 20s and some palms?
Jacked Matt walking around there, I'd be like, dude, what? You here, man? What do you need?
I would be terrified. Yeah, where do I need to go with this? Yeah.
The funny thing was, I didn't think anybody really noticed me being around. But the next day, I did go. I went back, obviously, and
you told me this before. You say, what did you wear the second day?
The second day, I put on my best suit. I had a 3-piece suit. I got a Uber Black or whatever it is, executive Uber. I rolled up in there in a brand new Yukon.
Right, black. Yeah, something nice.
And the first place I went to was BNSF Rail Yard, and I just walked straight through. Because I was pissed off too. I'm not gonna lie. I was on a mission, and I didn't really care if anybody thought I should be there or not. Well, I'm the only guy in a suit on that rail yard, so everybody thinks that I'm corporate or something like that.
Boss. Yeah.
Yeah. So look, and you know what? BNSF was really good to me. I was all over the yard. They sent me all over the place. And I went to talk to these girls in the office who actually pull all the strings on what containers get pulled out of that yard. I told them my situation. I told them how much my business hinged on what they would do for me now. And I treat them with a lot of respect. I wasn't in there ripping ass. That's what,
of course not. No.
That's what everybody, you need to think about it. When the shipping industry, they don't really get praised very often. They get told how slow they are and how bad they suck.
Yeah, it's like they work at the DMV. Yeah,
right.
No one appreciates it.
Yeah, so you go in there, show a little respect. And I told them, I said, this is super important to me. This is the most important meeting of my day. Whenever you can see me, I would like to discuss this with you. So they told me all kinds of stuff. My containers weren't at Terminal 13. They were at Terminal 5. Figured out all this stuff. So they told me that here's this number, here's this email. So then I'm feeding all my shipping agents this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I leave there. I know where my stuff is now. At least I know the area. But there's Homeland Security on the port, right? But you act as if you can get pretty much anywhere.
I know your feelings.
No wonder so many drugs get into America.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we have stories for act as if on this side too. Yeah.
So I mean, I did get stopped, denied at one terminal, which turned out not to be the one I needed to be at anyways. But then I finally did get to my cargo, and we were able to negotiate getting it pulled. And they told me, my shipping agent told me, he said, I talked to him. They said, there's no chance they're going to pull your cargo. You're no different than anybody else. I said, I'm not saying I am. I said, but this is my livelihood, man. I'm going to go out of business if you don't give me this.
Yeah.
And, the girls in the office made some things happen. My shipping agent got in contact with people I gave him information for, and within 24 hours, my stuff was on the rail. They told me to be earliest a month and a half, if not 3 months. And it worked, And the funny thing was, as I was leaving, one of the security guards, I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, no, I saw you here yesterday. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I saw you snooping around yesterday. I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, why didn't you say anything?
He's like, they don't pay me enough.
Exactly. He didn't care. He wanted to know what to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How to train. So,
That's so
it worked
funny.
out. It was just not willing to take no for an answer because I had no other option. I wasn't. It was super frustrating. And when I decided to fly out there, I was like, there's a 20% chance this is going to work.
Yeah.
But what else do you do?
No.
Right.
You know what
I mean, if you're going to go, you better know that you went out doing everything you could.
Exactly. And that's exactly how I felt about it. If it was going to go down, at least I knew I did what I could.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of people would just fold though. You know how uncommon it is for somebody to be like, you know what, I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go to a shipyard and I'm going to find this. Most people would fold. Where do you think that you develop that kind of initiative? Is that like from your parents or from your upbringing or what?
Probably a little bit my parents, but indirectly I would say, because I have 3 older sisters. I'm the only boy and I'm the youngest. I have good folks. I have a good family. Don't get me wrong. My dad was busy, county attorney. I was left to do a lot of stuff on my own. And when I was younger, I used to kind of resent that. I thought, man, I wish I had a brother or stuff like that. But now I feel like it's a superpower.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I don't ask anybody for permission to do anything.
Except for me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, let's be real here.
That's the real boss.
But the thing, and that was my mindset. Like, I don't need anybody, this and that. However, the last 5 or 6 years, I've realized, no, I totally do need people.
Yeah.
I can do it on my own if I absolutely have to, but I'm 10 times better with everybody.
Oh,
if we're on the same page.
Yeah. Compounding interest if you have the help of other people.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like gas to a fire. You get somebody that's on board and really is genuinely wanting to put forth the effort and, is seeing the same goal, and you take care of them. Then you can go that much faster. I mean, my first gym took me, the first gym to the second gym, it was 5 years. And then second gym to the third gym, it was a year and a half.
Yeah. Right.
So things just, compound.
What's the difference like between Westport, which is a building that you guys did not build, correct?
Correct.
Versus Liberty? Is that a lot different, basically?
Both those buildings weren't built by them. They just renovated both of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I felt, is the Liberty, I always felt like the Liberty renovation went longer. Maybe it was just more well documented.
So originally I was going to build in Lenexa like 3 years ago.
I remember.
I have this beautiful building that I designed with some architects.
Yeah.
We're still going to build it.
Oh, yeah.
It's been modifying it ever since. I just got to find the right spot. But I went to Lenexa. I was at 87 to 435, and I couldn't get past the city. I was under contract to buy this 3-acre parcel, and they just kept giving me the runaround. They wanted me to.
They wanted you to paint your colors the same as the Sprouts, and I was like,
they wanted
hideous.
tan stucco and green metal roof, and I guess my building was too modern for the area, and they wanted me to put in all these elevators. And I mean, I was already at the top of my budget.
right.
I mean, it was expensive. So I was like, I knew about this building downtown, and I said, well, let's just do this.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's worked out really well. To me at the time, it was kind of a constellation prize because I really was passionate about building that building, but it was like a $3 million facility, and I probably shouldn't have built it.
Not at that time.
Now's a different story, maybe, but at that time, I'm not saying I couldn't have pulled it off, but it would have taken years off my life.
Yeah, without a doubt, a little bit more stress. You also had like some opportunity for like co-tenants in that building, correct?
I did.
So here's what here's like, let's get to some points of relation, because so many people that listen to this enjoy the sport of bodybuilding, but you and I have talked about this on the side, Matt, and that's it. Typically, people that are in fitness, very, very much so, typically aren't your most business savvy people.
Correct.
And what do you think that is, or, why is that, you think? And what is it that, have you always been a business person that decided to bodybuild, or are you a bodybuilder that had to learn how to be more business savvy?
I think that's what it is. I think a lot of guys are bodybuilders first, and I wasn't. I mean, I can remember when I was like 7 years old, I used to charge kids in my neighborhood to use my zip line. Like, I built a zip line. I charged them $1, and I charged them $1.
That
First
can't
of all,
be safe.
You guys got a picture of this? We need to put this. We need to put this
I
somewhere.
highly doubt. I don't think my parents were aware of it. They wouldn't have let me do that.
I'd be
amazing.
paying dollars all day. Zip lines, about the funnest thing ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's worth it. I mean, I should have been charging neighborhood kids for my trampoline. That'd have been real smart, but
There you go.
I wasn't business savvy then.
Alexis, so basically the last, Westport and Liberty, you played a big part in, helping to build those out. What's the worst thing about building out a gym? Is that a loaded question?
Sleeping in the back, or
20-hour days.
Yeah,
Taking
20 hour
showers.
days, what?
taking
Being
showers at
dirty.
like different gyms or whatever.
There's so much. I mean, it definitely takes a toll on so many aspects of life, whether it's, I don't know, friends and relations, and just basically your entire life just is put on hold. But truly, at the end of the day, like, it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
I think the thing about you guys too is your friends. It seems like the community that's there is so tight, that it's like, yeah, you're working on this thing, but you're surrounded by people that are just great people.
For sure. And I feel like we have tunnel vision every time that we do one of these projects. Like, we know what the purpose is. We know, like, it's going to work.
Yeah.
So it's worth it.
You just kind of like,
And the people, we can't take credit for that. That community that we have in there, the culture, that's just, I mean, the
Hughes family are just the greatest
Ricky's
people
like the
ever.
best dude.
Oh, without a doubt.
That was going to be one of my questions.
And Lauren too. Dude,
Yeah.
they're both amazing.
They are.
we got great staff. I mean,
They're amazing.
Where
They're
do you-
truly, they're family.
Yeah. Where did you find them, and specifically how have you created an environment at the foundation that's allowed them to be so successful?
So the community even started in Manhattan. When we started that gym, we had a Bible study in there every Wednesday. But I think it's just like-minded people getting in there, supporting each other, and then that just continued when we opened up Westport. Like I said, I don't think we should take credit for it, because I think it's just organic.
Yeah.
And these people get together. Luckily, we've attracted some really quality people, and that's kind of set the tone.
Because that even starts with the relationship with Ricky and
Sure.
Lauren, because he was originally at the Manhattan gym.
Oh, okay. As a member, was he a
No.
K-State alumni?
So
Or
Ricky was out in Fort Hays, I believe,
Yep.
and he and his friends used to get together and come to Manhattan to train at the foundation, right? And then when he found out we were building one in Westport, he had originally contacted me and said, "Hey, I'd like to be a personal trainer." And I was like, "All right, man, we're like 6 months out from even opening. Like, hit me up later." Didn't think a whole lot of it. Hits me up like 2 months later, 3 months later, something like that. And he's like, I'm not really into personal training. I decided it's not for me. He's like, but I'd really like to help out if I could. And I said, all right, man.
just trying to grow with this gym.
Well, he was selling insurance, and I don't think I think he was okay doing that at that time. And I said, you know what, you want to help? $10 an hour, come put together equipment. And one thing that I really respect about Ricky is he didn't complain. He just worked and he did it, got it done. By the time we wrapped up, I said, man, you want a job? Come,
Yeah.
You want to work here? And he did. And 'cause he loves training.
No doubt.
Yeah. And then, so it was,
And I'm sure he wants to own his own gym someday, right? Something like that.
yeah.
Like
And
a foundation specifically. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. Basically, we're leaving it right now. We're kind of leaving it open. Like, I would love to have him own a gym on a location, but it might be something where he stays on and he and I just continue opening gyms together, and he just, is a profit sharer or an owner with
equitable
me.
partner or something like that.
Yeah. No, he's an entrepreneur himself. So
For sure.
I think he he gets it. He likes the grind, but yeah, he was one of 3 guys that we had working over there. The manager I originally had in Westport didn't work out, so I promoted those 2 guys to co-managers. Ended up the guy that started out for $10 an hour, I didn't really pay that much attention to at first, is now running our number one, or has run both of our gyms. Not saying the one's better than the other, but our biggest one now, or our newest in Liberty, he's doing a good job.
It seems like those employees, at least for me, when I have that employee that like I didn't think much of, but then they like surpass my expectations, it's like you become that much more proud of them. You're like, dude,
of course, yeah, I doubted you, man. I
doubted you, and you proved me wrong.
And it's not that I didn't think well of him. It was, I don't conversate very often with my staff until I know you're there for the long haul. Like, I'm busy, you should be busy, especially when it's construction. I did the same thing in Manhattan. Like, it's no offense to them. Let's get them things done first.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't
if you
say
can
people's
hack
numbers until I know that they're going to be around for a while.
That's
on my phone
true.
as an example.
Jeff will send me a side text. He's like, "Who is that texting us?"
I don't know. I mean, dude,
I'm
it's
like,
one of those
"That's
things
Freddie. He's our DM, dude.
Oh,
He's
stop.
been
No way. No way.
Luke just got saved though.
Luke's on week 2 of being saved."
Yeah. You've been working for us how long, Luke? Like 3 years? No, I mean, it usually takes like 6 months for me to save your number though, for real.
Sure.
And it might even be like a business contact too. You know what I mean? Like I won't say people's numbers until I put their full name in, because I know they're going to be in my life for a minute.
Right.
I don't put anybody, like I wouldn't put you in as like Matt Foundation. You know what I mean? Like I don't do that. Like if I know your number, it's because I wanted to.
Sure.
Speaking of your culture at the foundation in Manhattan, I think that's the first time outside of seeing you in that bodybuilding show, and obviously knowing Alexis before moving to Kansas City, we had an employee, Shay, who was, we recruited her to come work for us, and she was working for you at the time. I
believe Shay started as an intern, and then worked for us, and then came to Kansas City and ended up working for you guys.
Yeah,
right.
Shay's
she
awesome.
loved you guys, and she was like, "You got to check out the foundation, blah blah blah." And I remember getting on there and looking. I was like, "Oh, that's a cool gym, man." And when I heard you guys were coming here, I was like, "They're going to be successful because that's a cool gym." And I knew Alexis was great people, so I figured you were probably the same.
I remember we talked to Lenexa for a minute as far as like, you building out there and, you having co-tenants, and I'm just like, dude, this is going to be dope, So I'm so excited for that to continue to be, happening, because we need a good gym out there,
Yeah,
sure.
and,
there's the McKeevers there now, which is, it's been way cooler if there was a foundation.
Absolutely.
Well, the spot we were going to buy is still available.
Oh, is it?
I'm the second person that came through, signed contracts to purchase, and the city shut it down.
Wow.
Yeah, the real estate agent and the owners were talking about filing suit against the city.
Jeez.
Because they were
they're blocking, progress.
That's
they're inhibiting their progress to sell their property. But I don't know. I think Lenexa, the city center area, they're super proud of that now. Whereas 5-10 years ago, they would have just said, "Oh, we're grateful to have anybody in there."
Yeah, we'll have anybody.
You know what I mean? But it's all right.
They just put that jack stack down there. They're feeling pretty good about themselves.
I want to be in that area.
Yeah.
We will do more gyms in Kansas City. So Shawnee, Lenexa, you'll see something down there at some point.
Are you
It's
guys?
just whenever it's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
Guys, I got you got something. I got a really funny story.
I was gonna ask one question about gyms real quick. Can you give me a second?
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Are you guys gonna open?
Who's the married couple?
Are you guys gonna open?
True.
Is the goal to open more gyms outside of Kansas City, or are you guys more focused on opening gyms in Kansas City?
Good question. Oh, that was worthy.
I look
you.
all over the place. I'm constantly looking. I mean, I'm open to any idea.
Yeah.
We just went to Colorado. We always take vacations, but
I
we
was about
also
to say,
do
you
work
guys
at the
go-
same time.
Yeah.
Kind of like maybe like kind of like investigate and spotlight some cool gyms.
For sure. I do statistical analysis. Before we go down, I actually had some Airbnb software that I bought years ago. And I didn't do that Airbnb business at that time, but the software was really good for statistics regardless.
Really?
And so,
Demographics is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Colorado Springs actually was statistically a better option than Kansas City. But logistically for me, I was like, those are just numbers. I got to think what I can actually handle.
Yeah.
So we came to Kansas City. I mean, I got family up here. My sister, Kim, lives 5 blocks from the gym in Liberty.
Incredible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of fun hanging out with them. But yeah, we went out to Colorado. We looked at land. I have a really good friend out there who's wanting to franchise the gym. and I'm totally down. He'll do a great job. Louis Disney, firefighter. Shout out to Louis. He's a great dude. So we went out there, but we had fun with it too. We did some Airbnb camping stuff like that. But we checked out 3 different gyms: Flex in Colorado Springs, Armbrist Gym in Denver, and then Iron Prodigy in Fort Collins. All cool gyms.
Yeah.
We just wanted to see what those are supposed to be the best. We wanted to see what the best was. See if we could hang, which confirmation we can.
I love it. That's awesome.
So we looked at some property. The property we were most interested in, they only want to do a ground lease. And, I'm in the business of owning property. I'm not, so with the ground lease, if people don't know what that is they will lease you the land, and a lot of times they'll do build to suit. They'll build you the building. But, on a 30-year or 50-year ground lease, at the end of the term, they take your building and you leave.
Yeah.
Which works for CVS's and Walgreens and hotels, but it's not the operation I'm trying to run.
Yeah.
So right as of now, we looked into it. We don't have any options out there. We're probably going to double down in Kansas City. That being said, I don't limit myself just to gyms. I'm open. I'm not open to everything that makes money, because just because it makes money doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's exciting to me and it's lucrative, I'm going to consider it. And luckily, I got a wife that lets me do pretty much what I want to do most of the time.
Definitely down for sure.
Matt is a super smart guy. I was interested in some land that was by my house, and I was like, "Hey man, can you send me over some ideas of whether or not this is a good deal?" And he sent me like 2 pages of text of information. I was like, "Holy crap! I don't know what half this stuff means, but this is awesome information." You just got a good background in basically.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of people don't know is they have geographical maps, GIS systems. Most counties have them.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in property, log on to that and they'll tell you the value, appraised value, ownership, stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's probably one of my top tips for real estate.
Yeah.
Look into GIS.
What do you know about this? There's a guy that I knew that used to be a customer of ours, which all of the stuff I know is purely from getting to know people that shopped with us at the counter, right? And one of these guys in Springfield, Missouri, his name was Zach. He told me that he got this from his dad. They would look at these properties that more or less would sit idle for years and years and years, and no one would claim them. Like they were left to somebody in in their will, or someone bought it and then like skipped town and whatever. And so like this land sits idle for a certain amount of years, and and you can put basically your own rights to it. Like you can bid on this or you can buy this, and then if no one claims it, and by this date, that land becomes your land for like nothing.
So you're probably referring to
So like squatters,
tax
right?
sales,
more or less, yeah.
Well, I think you're talking about a tax sale. So if somebody doesn't pay their property taxes, say, is in a trust,
yeah, X amount of years or something like that.
I bought a house when a guy and the son went to prison.
Wow,
Believe it or not, in Manhattan. I bought it at a tax sale, ripped it down, and built a new house. I mean, most of the time those are eyesores in the community anyways, if they're structures.
And this is more land. He was like, it was all only land. It was only property. It was really weird.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about eminent domain or anything like that, really.
Yeah, that might have been what it was.
I know tax sales, and I know another real estate tip. Tax sales are great.
Yeah, man.
You can get some good deals.
Pretty wild. There's a situation where he was telling me how like this land for sure, it should be $100,000 or something like that, and he got it for like $7,000, and I was just like, whatever that is, I need to look into it. And of course, I don't even remember the name. So
there's a time period though after that tax sale that they can come back.
Oh no,
that's
what
he was
risk,
saying.
You risk it a little bit. I mean, there is a potential you could lose the money you put on it.
Ugh.
So that doesn't happen very often. At least it hasn't happened to me. But I know
there's some horror stories out there.
Correct. Correct.
Now I have no idea what my funny story was, Kyle.
I cut you off, man.
I hope you're happy, but you know what? If it comes to me, I'll come back to it. But I think it was really just talking about Gus and Moo more, because
here's my question with Gus and Moo. Why?
Here's my question.
Here. I do that, and Jeff makes fun of me.
Sorry.
God dang it! Now you're gonna make me lose my question.
Go ahead. Tell me what your question is.
I was wondering why Groot looks the way he does, but Gus and Moo are so good looking.
Wow, dude. You're just going to talk about my child on air like that?
Yes, I am.
Unbelievable, dude.
I think he needs to hit a diet or something. I was thinking Gus.
I guess
he's happy.
I guess Groot being blind and deaf, I guess he should exercise more to appease you.
He's a little older too.
I think he would just walk into walls, Kyle. You serious, dude? Come at my handicapped son on the air?
Listen, dude, I'm just saying that he needs a trainer, and I feel like they can provide the trainer, the dog trainer, you know? Mm-hmm. That's probably why they
listen. Groot was bought on clearance, and Gus was from a championship breeder.
That's true.
And that is the difference.
Yeah,
Gus puts on a little extra poundage here and there, too.
He does.
You know what?
He's pretty
Something funny,
right
though. Moo came into her second heat, so we were letting them get together because we'd love to breed him.
Yeah.
I don't think she got pregnant this time, but funny thing is that's all Gus wanted to do.
He didn't eat.
Can you blame him?
Like he would wake you up, like, all right, let's get up, start the day. And he lost like 5 pounds.
Did he really?
He didn't
If
eat,
not
and all
more.
he did was try and get at it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, he trimmed
He
up.
humped 5 pounds off his body?
Yes.
Yes. I'm not
God,
kidding.
he
He was
ate
looking
Groot on that diet.
He was looking trim, man. And then like
Get Moo around here.
3 weeks after she's not in heat anymore, he's like back to normal.
Yeah.
And fat.
Groot had a son. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Groot had a Goldberg for like a week. He had a brother. I mean,
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
he had a
right.
brother for like a week. I adopted this dog. It didn't work out for me because he couldn't go upstairs. And anywho, Groot was just humping the shit out of Goldberg for
Dominance.
like a week. And I was like, dude, that's not the way to do it, man. This is a boy dog. You know?
It's a
He doesn't
dominance
know.
thing.
Oh, yeah, dominance thing.
It must have been, yeah. But I was just like, man, this is brutal.
Gus is probably the most famous bulldog in Kansas City. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, I'd say for sure. I think he's probably in the top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
pretty crazy.
I mean,
How many followers does Gus and Moo have right now?
57,000, I think. I think
crazy.
that's it.
How many went up from the viral video? If you guys don't know Gus, if you have all seen the video, you just you didn't know it was him maybe. Or Alexis, but Alexis was doing just Alexis, you tell the story. What am I doing? Tell
It
what
was
happened.
just a random day doing a workout in Westport and planking, and Gus goes up my shirt, and
To be fair, it was a hoodie.
Yeah.
It was a
hoodie.
big baggy shirt.
It was.
It was a hoodie, and then his head went through the neck hole,
And he's caught.
and he
can't
couldn't get out. And he was just wiggling, being adorable, trying to get out. And so, anyways, that video I think hit Barstool.
Yep, twice.
Damn.
He's on Good Morning America, the MOB network.
He's been on ESPN.
ESPN. Thing is, he has another video too. I don't know if you guys seen that one where we went
Treadmill?
back home. No, he has that too.
It's with the cows.
But
Oh,
we,
the cows,
we took him
yeah.
back home to
Yeah.
my folks, and we were driving dirt roads, and we saw cattle, and I said, "Let's see what he does." And I let him out. And he went out there and he was really curious.
He got into his bulldog stance and scared those
Yeah.
cows away.
Yeah, he did. That video only shows the tail end of it. He was out there for a few minutes before that, not scared of anything. And then all of a sudden, it's like it dawned on him. He's like, "Damn, these are big cows." Yeah. And they see him in the video, tuck tail and run.
Yeah.
And then he hears the one behind him, and he just posts up. And I was a proud dad.
He turned around, got in his stance, and those cows were backing off.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Somebody shared me, because any kind of bulldog video, everybody knows I have an English bulldog that would send them to me. And so I got this random TikToker that was doing a remix, they voiced over the original video and did their own thing with it. And then I sent it to you, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, this got 2 million views.
Dude, they're so funny.
And you're like, and I didn't know. I was like, I know this video. This is from Alexis.
Yes.
And it was just some random dude shared it, but someone sent it to me. Isn't this funny? And I was like, dude, here's a picture of me with that dog.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. The funny thing about it was he had an agent after that first video. So that first video when going up her shirt had, last I checked, 50 million views.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's what we could see. It's been shared a lot.
Yeah.
But the next day after that video was posted, I chose between four. We had 4 different agencies hitting us up, and we ended up going with Jukin Media out of
California. I think.
Miami.
Miami. Okay.
Yeah, LA or Miami, either way.
So Gus has an agent.
Yes.
So he had an agent. Yeah, we made $200 or $300 a month off him for the first for a year and a half, and we still get a little bit here and there, but yeah, it's hilarious.
That's awesome.
My dog is more popular than me, and I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
No.
Without
I
a
think
doubt.
that was what was it? It was a top 10 Barstool for the full year.
Yeah,
right?
for 2020.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is nuts.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
funny.
That's
Man, I don't know how we
amazing.
top that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well,
It's just funny because he just randomly does this stuff. Even people, after I shared that, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you would make your dog do this or you trained him to do that." I'm like, Have you ever tried to train a bulldog? Like, have you ever been around
The most
one?
stubborn breed there is.
Well, bulldogs are funny though. Anyways,
Bullheaded,
they're hilarious.
you know?
They just do. They all. A lot of them have similar mannerisms. But with our dogs, they're with us all the time.
Right.
So there's a lot of opportunity, and they interact with people a lot.
Sure.
So they're really comfortable. And if she's running the camera a lot, and so that's what happens.
Dude, I mean, him in his Chucky costume for Halloween running at me, that was awesome.
He's funny. Definitely, I mean, the dogs being a part of the gym was never a plan at all. Gus is my emotional support animal, and he came to the gym with me one day, and he was really good, and he came back the next day and the next, and he just kind of posted up. But it's one of those things like, I don't know, going to a gym for anyone, no matter what your fitness experience or background is, it's kind of intimidating to go to a gym. But whenever there's like
a cuddly little fat dog,
yes, and he's just like so happy to see you and wiggling his butt, like it just makes it so much easier.
So this is my funny story I was going to talk about. I finally got it.
Brought it back.
I found it.
Oh God.
So so let me give everybody a little bit of backstory. So, like I said, Matt and Alexis, I didn't know them very well when I first met them. I knew of Alexis because she was from St. Louis. Yep. She was close to our company in St. Louis, but I didn't live in St. Louis, so I didn't know her very well. And so her and Matt were like always just kind of like, when you meet somebody in the professional world, they're just kind of like, we're talking business. We don't ever like get into the deeper, it's all surface level business stuff, not real friends. It's more acquaintance, right?
Sure.
So we invite Matt and Alexis to this Chiefs game, and we're like, we'll just see how good of a time this is. Because we don't know each other very well. We'll get to know each other better throughout this tailgate. And it just happened to be like the worst day to ever go to a Chiefs game. It was like 0 degrees, 6 inches of snow. Alexis had to borrow somebody's like, what do you would call those?
Coveralls. Carhartt coveralls.
She was wearing like 3XL.
They were huge.
Alexis looked like the kid off A Christmas Story.
She had so many layers. Her arms couldn't be folded down. We have a good photo of it too. We should probably pop that up for the YouTube loop. Yeah, get the side by side going. And so Alexis is just like, typically, either Matt's like, was competing or was like, conditioning for a show or something like that. But like not today, not that day. They were like, we're here to party. And so I'm not only did I remember like Alexis just like crushing beers, but I remember when we got into the stadium and like to this point, Arrowhead security guys is pretty phenomenal. And we got in and I was just like, oh man, like I need to get a drink. And like Alexis like, no, hold on. And like pulls out a beer from one of her many layers. Like pulls out
She's like I got a 24 pack.
Dude, she had like 6 cans that she like just walked right in with. And I was like,
put them down the leg part of my pants.
And you were like, this ain't my first rodeo, Jeff. Like,
but the thing is like security stopped me and they had the wand over my legs and they're like, ma'am, we need to stop you. I'm like, I have steel-toed boots on. It's fine. And I just walked right in.
Yeah, like don't question me.
Don't question me.
If you're confident, you can get away with a lot.
How I feel about that.
That's true. Jeff does.
I was in the Chiefs Super Bowl parade.
Oh, that's right. With your golf cart.
That's right.
Right?
Yep. Got right in. Someone like on the news earlier that day, like got spun around by the military and was like, remember that some guy got on the parade route? It was like some meth head or something.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, it was like helicopter was over it. Like
it was before the parade started.
Yeah, they yanked this dude out of the car and like beat him senseless. It was just like, I was a little bit extra cautious going on the parade route that day, thinking in my head like what could be, because it was like 2 million people in one place.
Yeah.
And so it was like, this is a terrorist attack like waiting to happen. So there was like Secret Service there or like FBI was there. Like it wasn't just a handful of Kansas City cops. It was like they brought in like the National Guard for this. And so
did you guys go to that?
Skipped right in, no problem.
No,
I didn't go either because I was cold and I was like, Jeff, I'm not going all the way downtown. The next thing I know, he's sending me a picture and it's him cruising by Travis Kelce on the bus. And I was like,
oh my God,
what are you doing? And where?
I was like just holding up the Lombardi Trophy with Andy Reid over here. What's up?
I was like, I should have gone downtown.
Yeah.
Yes.
It looked awesome.
There was a good FOMO for other people that day.
It was a good opportunity for Kansas City to come together right before COVID.
Oh, I
know what I mean? It was
like a month
literally
before.
right after.
It was just like a thing that was happening in China at the time. Like we didn't even think it was coming to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Damn. So speaking of COVID though, speaking of COVID, how did you guys handle that? Because it was one of those things where there was no book for it, right? And I know that you guys, you helped us out when it came to trying to raise money for other gyms and so forth. But what was it, that you did to help keep that afloat? Because it was just damn tough time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we were probably the last gym in Manhattan and Kansas City to close. We would kicking and streaming. I didn't want to close, obviously, but at the same time,
in Westport, we had just opened. Like we opened technically December of 2019, so we'd been open for 3 months.
Right.
So we couldn't even get any of like the funding.
Yeah, it was crazy because we literally we hit our break even, our cash flow point like a week before that. Mm-hmm. And then we had to shut down. It was super unfortunate. The thing is we did not qualify for any of the bailout money because you had to be in operation for X amount of months the previous year, and we hadn't been. And
which is crazy because that's like, that just basically is a death wish for anybody who's a new business. Right?
So it's like Manhattan did, luckily, so we got some money there, and that's what I had to spread out across both of them, and that's how we made it. To be honest, we sold a lot of stuff too. So we were one of the last ones to close down. We didn't charge our members. We just, we can't offer the service. How are we going to charge you? I mean, can't justify. We had people offering to pay, which was really cool.
Right.
Which we really appreciated. Didn't accept, but we appreciated. But no, I had 2 storage units full of equipment that was supposed to go to the next gym. I sold all that. I had my wife's Audi, who I had paid off, sold that, and we bought a car and got a loan.
I was pumped that you sold that because I ran into that car.
So yeah, we sold some.
I was going to remind you of that.
I remembered. Don't forget.
Every time
I reared right into that.
Every time I hear a story like that, and obviously we heard a ton of stories like that, and doing the Casey fundraiser that we did during that time. Every time I see somebody who's like, "Yeah, shut it down," or any of that crap, I'm like, you just don't know any business. You don't know anybody that has been affected by this because it's,
gut-wrenching, dude.
Yeah, it's gut-wrenching to have to sell, all the equipment that you had for your next gym,
sure.
A car, like, dude.
People that were yelling, shut it down. It's like, those are the people that are giving you a job. You know what I mean? Like giving you an opportunity to make money.
And they don't have to sacrifice anything. They're saying, you shut it down, and it doesn't affect them, at all.
It affected us for sure. We had to close each location down for 3 months, and it's all purely because you were in Kansas City, and for the sake of this is being in, for at least the Kansas City location, like the city of Kansas City was the last to open things up. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Manhattan.
I was going like mask free. I was like mask free in May in like Kansas, going to like a Genesis or something. And then, to go, and then you guys weren't even like allowed to open yet for months.
That's goofy.
Yeah,
it was so stupid.
It was weird because you'd have different, like Jackson County or whatever the next county over is. You'd have gyms open, but if you're in
Clay
Jackson
County or whatever it may be.
Yeah, so it was kind of frustrating, but we did what we had to do. That government money did help, and we were willing. You just can't be too proud to sell what you got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we did what we had to do, made it through. My CFO, when he was doing the books, finally, we ended up losing like $196,000 in gross revenue.
That is
see, that's the thing is the PPP money. It shouldn't have been based on basically what you were paying the payroll for your employees, because if you have a gym, you have very limited amount of employees. You're going to have a lower amount of payroll. Your biggest costs are going to be your equipment, your lease, or your mortgage if you're bought the land, and it's like. That was what was hurting gyms so bad is like, dude, you can't get enough money to like facilitate, keeping your business open.
Yeah. And, again, People's State Bank, they deferred my note on that property, and that helped for sure. I mean, we're still paying interest, right?
Right.
But that helped, and we were willing to do what we needed to do. And, everybody was eating it at that time. It was like, we weren't anything special. There was multiple businesses going through it.
Oh, yeah. I think the only thing worse would be being a restaurant during that time.
And bars.
Oh. Sure.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
They got that to-go money, though, man. They couldn't do to-go memberships.
Well, a lot of restaurants make most of their monny from alcohol sales.
They legalized alcohol being served to go.
Yeah, but how many people are using that?
I don't know, but I'm just saying that, like, hey, I'm not trying to like champion.
There's still a workaround. They can still try it.
Dude, listen, I know a lot of managers of some really. Here's the thing. This is my take on it. Anything that had to do with COVID and the shutdown, if you were good at what you did, it probably even helped you. If you're not good at what you're doing, if you weren't actually the best at what you did, you just sped up everybody's timeline. If you were going to go out of business, you went out of business faster. If you're going to be successful, people recognize that you were going to be successful faster.
Sure.
I know, Garozzo's Italian restaurant, it's like just right down the street for me. Their business has gone up 40%. And it's because they basically have phenomenal food, and people went out of their way to buy local to go. And that to-go money stayed after they opened it back up, and now they're like having to like double up their kitchen. They're having to figure out new space just because of how good they are. Sure. You know what I mean? And so restaurants like that you don't really hear about much, or you don't really care about too much, like they'll go to the wayside purely because people aren't out and about, eating there because of convenience, because it was right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. I think the bars got hit the hardest, probably.
Well stated, yeah.
And then the restaurants. But even with the restaurants and the bars, I think they got more COVID money than the average.
Name a for example, like a super high rent. What bar went out in Power and Light? You know what I mean? Outside of, I think, what's it called? It was like Angel's Rock Bar, but I think they were going out anyway.
Yeah, I don't hit the bars enough to know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know if any closed.
Jeff, you would know this question better than anyone sitting here.
Was it a Taco Bell menu item or?
No, I'm just saying. I don't get what, the last time I was at Power and Light, I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, it was 5 years ago.
Oh, you don't actually have a question. You were just mocking me.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, though, they got, I think initially it was a hard hit for the restaurants. Then they got a lot of good bailout money. However, now they can't get anybody to work. They were paying people. That's the main thing. I have one of my business partners and good friend owns a Mexican restaurant just down the road from you, Tio Cali.
No shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent Hispanic restaurant. I checked it out. But, he made it through, but now he just can't get anybody to stay staffed. I think they're doing a little better now, but, when the government's giving you money not to work, and sometimes it's more than you're earning working, why would they go back to work?
Especially if they got to save some of that money. If they were smart about, the money they were getting.
Sure.
A lot of people were making money hand over fist compared to what they were making before.
Yeah.
And, I can't, who can blame people to do that? Honestly, it's like, that's just human nature. Why would they go back to work if they have extra money, or
it's almost like you shouldn't incentivize that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. I think the strong survived. However, there's some that just kind of kept struggling. But it was a shit sandwich, and everybody had to take a bite. That's what it comes down to,
without a doubt, man. I mean? There was a gym that I know that you had took issue with during the shutdown, how they handled things, and I just want to give you the opportunity to kind of like say your side of things on how that worked out.
Sure. Well, I mean, and I don't, me, I'm a pretty quiet guy for the most part. I'm definitely of the opinion, if you're going to say it, make sure it's true, and just because it's true doesn't mean you should say it.
Well stated. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So I mean, I very, very rarely get involved in almost anything online, and this was an exception and debatable in my opinion whether or not I should have in the first place, just because I don't like being involved in any drama. I got my own thing I'm working on. You guys, to be honest, anybody I've ever had a problem with currently or in the past, I have no beef with anybody. I hope everybody tomorrow lives their best life and continues to do that the rest of their life. Like, good luck. Don't worry about me. I won't worry about you. But in that situation, it's. Are we name dropping?
You can name drop all you want.
I mean, no offense to them. I hope they're doing well. SBC, they charge their members while they're shut down. And, I initially was going to say something about it, and I didn't. Waited a few weeks, and then they kept popping off about it. And basically what I said was, this is a great opportunity to honor your members. Because they went on the news, and they said, we got this much in the bank. We're not going out. We got plenty of money for rent in the bank. And I'm just like, well, then why did you charge your members? You can't offer the service. In my opinion, that was a great opportunity when you're on the news. Since you did charge them, say, our members are so good. They carried us through just to make sure we would make it. You know what I mean? Instead, they were, in my opinion, boasting that, hey, we got money. We're going to charge you. That's how it is. That's how I saw it. And I just basically was like, you shouldn't have done it that way. I said, if you can't offer the service, you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, it was probably an emotional reaction, because at the time you're over here like, we didn't get any money, and I'm freaking, having to sell equipment right now to make ends meet.
Sure.
And you're on the news talking about how you're killing it. And so like, dude, I can imagine that being an emotional decision. And it's like, I'm sure if you ever took the time, like if you guys ever had a chance to talk, I'm sure there was a lot more to that. And I'm sure we'd all go back and be like, well, I probably could have handled that differently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't regret anything I said because I've never made false claims.
No doubt.
That being said, is it really something I want to be involved in, or was it my place? Debatable.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. We weren't charging our members. We weren't getting any funding, and it was tough.
Dude, to say the least.
You know what I mean? And so
it was so much uncertainty back then, man. If you put yourself back in that spot right now, it's just like wild. Like we were all just wondering what the hell's going to happen. This is like mid-April.
I was no. Do you remember like the end of March? The two weeks at the end of March where I remember thinking, so I had
15 days to flatten the curve. Kyle.
Yeah, 15 days to flatten the curve. I'm literally up reading about it like every night. I'm going down so many rabbit holes. I'm like, dude, we're going to have to do this and we're going to have to stock up on this and blah, blah, blah. And we're probably going to have to shut down all the businesses. And I mean, it felt like the end of the world was coming for a second. It felt good to come out of that and be like, okay, all right, I guess the end of the world's not going to happen.
Sure.
When you don't have a wife and kids, you can sleep so much better.
Yeah, you were like, what are we doing? What's going on?
I was like, we're still going to be able to go to the gym though, right? Like, so every morning I was like, hey, we're essential, right? Like, we can say we're essential, right?
Well, then throw the riots on top of that. Like, you couldn't make it worse, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, nobody knows this, but I mean, I sent everybody home. They closed the gym down. It's a 24-hour gym. We shut it down at like 5 o'clock, something like that. And I had a Kevlar vest on. I was strapped.
Yeah.
I mean,
during the riot part?
because our street, we're on Southwest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Southwest Boulevard.
Yeah. I mean,
or Traffic Way. You're on Southwest Traffic Way.
Yep.
And I don't want to get involved with any of that stuff, but at the same time, I'm going to meet force with force, baby. Luckily everything, they just moved on past us, but God, talk about a crazy time.
Dude, there was talks of like rioting and I don't know, it wasn't looting. It was there was some kind of like threat going on in Overland Park, specifically at like Knoll.
Yeah.
It was like Knoll and 135th, and we're at 135th and Metcalf, just a few blocks down. Mm-hmm. And guys,
we're right next to a diamond store.
We're right next to the Shane Company, right? Like the Shane Company. And I'll never forget being at our store, walking outside, and they're fucking, sorry for cursing, nailing giant, massive, wooden boards over their windows at the Shane Company, and locking up and closing down early. And all the employees are going home early because they're afraid of what's about to go down in Overland Park, Kansas.
135th and Metcalf. I was like, what is going on right now?
There is going to be rioting and looting at 135th and Metcalf in Overland Park, Kansas. Like, what is going on? Yeah. And so we're like, we'll just have to hang out at the store tonight and see what happens. Right. And so that's what we did. Pretty crazy. Well, I'm glad to hear we're all done with that for the most part.
No kidding.
Dear God.
It does feel like we're basically on the backside of all that.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, but it feels like it was 5 years ago to me now.
Right.
It's so wild that we were going through that.
I got one. This is the most important question that we'll ask the entire podcast. We ask all our guests this question, and it is, so how long have you guys lived in Kansas City?
we bounce back and forth, so it's hard to claim it.
Yeah. I technically moved here. I was probably 8.
You've been going out to eat here a long time.
Been going out to eat here for a long time,
mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
What's the best barbecue in Kansas City?
You get one spot.
Smoking Guns.
Whoa.
Smoking Guns on Swift Avenue in North Kansas City. Shout out Smoking Guns. No one said it yet.
That is
Are
a
you
first.
Serious?
Yeah.
No, one person said it yet.
Oh my God, hands down.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It is. It's on the sneak. Not a lot of people know that.
I guess she probably has more experience than I do. She's probably right. But
Matt's like, I usually get 6 ounces of smoked turkey on. No.
Oh, no. He can get down.
Does Matt get in on some barbecue?
Big time. Yeah.
So what are you saying? I'm sorry.
I like Q39.
You like it?
It's not Jeff's, the best? This is Jeff's favorite.
Number one, sell me on this barbecue.
Well,
it's like
2 buildings away from our Westport gym. And
oh, yeah.
Building that thing out, I'd smell it every day.
Do they know your name?
I believe they did.
Okay.
I haven't been around that much lately.
What's your favorite item there?
Burn ends or money.
Yeah. Do you get the sandwich, the Mr. Burns?
I've done both. However, they don't. I used to always get it as an appetizer because I'd like a bunch of different stuff.
Amen.
But they're like, hey, we're not having it on the appetizer menu today. It's only on the entree. You know what I mean? We're out of burn ends.
We're not selling you the $11 burn ends. We're selling you the $18 burn ends.
Yeah.
When I go to Q39 and they don't have burn ends, I'm just like, I'm out of here, man.
That's the point.
It's like every other
I waited
time.
in line for an hour for this. For what?
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever had their pork belly corn dogs?
Wow.
Now we're getting into
Is that real?
Okay, let me just break this down for you guys because this is the best appetizer
corn dog
in Kansas City. They take big pork belly pieces. We're talking like, which if you don't know, pork belly is just thick ass bacon. Okay. So imagine it being just a giant chunk of bacon, like an inch thick, and then they put it in like pancake batter, more or less, right? So like these things look like, I don't even know, like fritters, like kind of like, they're not corn dogs by any means, but they put them on like a thin stick, and then you dip them in this like honey maple syrup sauce.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like maybe the best tasting thing on earth. Like, I don't know if I've ever had anything taste better than this. It's so freaking good.
It sounds really healthy.
Yes.
Obesity.
Yeah. And then I woke up from my food coma, and that was it. That was the whole story.
It's all right. It's cheat day, man.
Make sure to try those if you guys haven't.
Okay. But question for you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are bathroom breaks allowed on this podcast?
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up.
That was actually our last question for you.
That was the last
Perfect.
question. So you have all the time to go to the bathroom after we're done.
Yeah.
Right on.
Matt, Alexis, appreciate you guys taking the time to come on.
Yeah, thank you
Love you
guys.
guys.
Love you.
Appreciate you guys. And so if you guys, again, if you haven't already, please share the podcast up. Find us on iTunes.
Go
find
work
us
out
on
at the
Spotify.
foundation. Make sure you mention Protein Bros podcast if you want to work out for free.
For sure.
Yep.
Try it out. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.